Hey guys, Dana here, founder of Bullies Keep Out and host of La Bella Vida. And today we are here with president and founder of Eco Fashion Week, Myriam Laroche, and new Bullies Keep Out advocate. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to be here with us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure. So, of course, we're going to talk about bullying in the fashion world. You being in that, being in that world, and I know we've had conversations in the past where I kind of feel, and I know you agreed, that it's really probably not talked enough about how much bullying and hate and whatnot goes on in that, in that arena in the fashion world. So, one question I kind of like to start out with everybody is bullying a personal thing for you? Have you ever personally been involved or someone you know in any form of bullying or hate, either online or offline?
Oh, absolutely. In elementary school, I would say up to sixth grade, it was very hard for me to have friends at school. I don't call it bully, I call it rejection. So I was a target for the friends at school. I call them the friends, but to make fun of me, ridicule me, reject me. No, we don't want to be your friend. It was mostly like I was not included at all. So I remember, and I was at my family's the other day, and I found a picture of me at that age, and I could see how tired I am physically at that age, because I remember it was taking a lot. The chance that I had is that I had an amazing family, an amazing support. Every time I was coming home from school crying, my mom was always there, or my dad telling me, hey, most of the time it's because people are jealous of you, and they don't know how to let you know, so they hurt you to get your attention or things like that. And I come on my mom's side, she has altogether it's 14 siblings, so I had a lot of cousins. So coming back home, I just in my family I had my best friends. So when I was not at school, I was not bullied. I was surrounded by a lot of loved ones. So I was lucky in my bullying moment in my life. But something now that I realized was essential to who I am right now is that it made me aware of how being bullied can make you become a bully as well. And we talk about the fashion industry. I think the fashion industry use bullying, and let's say they use shaming and blaming and guilt to lift up themselves or looking better than others. And it's very easy to go there. And it made me realize that I can be a bully sometimes, especially at the beginning of my career. If someone was not doing something on time, it was never, oh, what happened? Maybe something happens, like it's not on time. La la la. You become assertive. But in my head, it was being a boss or being a leader. And a couple of years ago, someone brought that to the table, like, well, Myriam, you're a bully too. And I was like, what do you mean? And then I stopped. I'm like, yes, I'm a bully. I can do that to people, and I don't even notice it. But now when I go to that place, because it's kind of part of me, it's been like that for so long. And I think in general life, we define bully as maybe more physical, hurting physically or violence of that. But there's so many subtle way of bullying that people don't even realize it exists. Intimidation, to have people execute something at work, has been part of doing business for so long. And now it's like, hey, but you know what? Eco fashion should include that. It's the respect of our planet, but it should be the respect of the humans as well on the planet. So this is a bit of my story, and right now I want to be aware of when I'm a bully, and I think we have to prepare everybody who's being bullied that, hey, there's a risk. You might not even bully a human. You might bully your animal or your dog, because the anger has to go somewhere. When you're
Yeah.
rejected, you're so sad and angry, and you don't understand, so you suppress it. But once in a while, it has to come out. And if you're not aware, you were um, like uh, like saving those emotions, suppressing those emotions, and they come out. You kind of feel that it's normal. I don't know if it makes sense. So yeah.
The fact that you're saying that, you've actually bullied, because a lot of people will not admit that. and I think we've all been on each side of the fence at some point in some way or another, no matter how it is, because there's all forms of bullying, whether it's from parents or friends, or you doing it to yourself, or you're doing it to an animal. I mean, we advocate for that too. Bullying is bullying. It doesn't matter where it's going, you're still doing it. And, it's still an issue and it's still a problem. And it's like, we can call it like, passive aggressive or, like you said, leadership or being assertive. But there is a difference. There's a very fine line. And I always tell people this, even online when you're talking and when you're not hearing voices, there is a very fine line, because if it's not done with respect and kindness, you can be considered like, in being involved in bullying type behavior. You might not be a bully in the sense where you're doing it on a regular basis, which is what bullying is. But you can fall into that behavior or become the bully when you were the one being, bullied. So it is a very fine line. But with the fact that you're noticing it or people are bringing it to your attention and you're trying to rectify and fix it is a good thing. Because especially in when you work in fashion, I mean, my publicist work, is that, goes to the fashion week, and, he told his story. He's also a red carpet socialite. He attends all the fashion week shows, and he's highly involved in it. And, he has his own story too, and he's even said that, that world is filled with it so much that I don't think people realize it. Especially with people when they're part of the LGBT community, they feel that like, oh, you're a model, you must be gay, or you must be this, or you must be that. Is that thrown around a lot, and do you find it by you in your line of work when you do Eco Fashion Week?
Well, of course, there's some stereotypes that can be there. You're a model, you're gay. No, it's not something I heard a lot. I heard people say that, but I would never say that, but I think, you're talking, is it that the word bully needs new words, or the family of bullying needs new words to help? Because at the end of the day, I feel if we want to stop the hardcore bullying, we need to be aware of the lighter one, because we can put tons of energy in trying to stop bullying. But if we're not aware that there's other stuff, maybe it's not called bullying, but it's part of the bullying family that is there. It's just to be more aware, because I feel sometimes bullying can just be a look.
Yeah.
And at Fashion Week, everybody looked to each other head to toe. And you feel, I don't know how many times I can feel self-conscious at an event. And even my event, I could see people looking at me and things like that. But my mom told me sometimes that I can do that also, not in a mean way, but I kind of look and I make people self-conscious. It's not, so it's about how we treat each other, and I don't know. It has to be not deep. I don't know if it's deeper, but something around bullying that is more. And I think to involve everybody is to realize that we have some light bullying as well. Everybody was angry at someone one day and shame them and guilt them. Even the most bullied people. It's not, to be honest, to say I've been bullied and that's it. It's impossible. And I think it's a personal comment that if you've been bullying hard, that there's not one time in your life that you've had revenge on a weaker person, because it's there. We have to understand that the anger is there and it can come out. With that said, the tools that we now have is you need to learn to forgive yourself. And when you get into that state of wanting to be angry at someone or bullying someone, this is where you reach out to the tools and say, hey, I'm that person. I accept myself. You accept yourself. You're there. We're human, okay? But it's to reach out to different tools, because there's tools to be aware of that. Because if I use it, it's like working out as well. The more you use the tool, the more you're in shape, and you're in shape to face bullying and you being a bully. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, you bring up some very valid points that, like, sometimes I don't think we think of, and that's why I say there's all forms of bullying, and I talk about very different things, and I have a wide spectrum of what I cover, and people have always said, you seem to cover a lot of things, and I'm like, because bullying doesn't just mean, okay, I pushed you down or I called you a name. I mean, or a consistent behavior. It also could be, like you said, consistently how you look at people, and it seems like a very condescending look or a very judgmental look, or even if it was just for a moment, you were a bully in that moment, you still were, involved in it. You were still participating in that behavior. So okay, you might not be a bully and you might not be consistent and you might not be this horrible person, and that people might try to categorize you in, but you are, I think in some form or another, you're right. We are all guilty of that anger coming out on somebody else and lashing out. I mean, I can say in my younger days, I've done it. I've been involved in situations where you think you're supposed to have your friends back, and you're kind of just standing there and you're not really doing anything, but you're just kind of standing there getting someone's back, and you're like, it's wrong and you shouldn't be doing it, but it's just like, well, it's a friend. But if a friend really was your friend, they wouldn't care either way if you were essentially participating or not.
But why not use that? Because I believe, for me, the way I solve problem the better is when I've been through it. So to help people are not becoming a bully anymore, the hardcore bullies that they need help, because when you're a bully, you're not happy. I don't believe people are born like that. So if you're a bully, you're not happy. But when you go back to a couple of times you've been like the times you were bullied, you can now speak at their language because you've been there. It's that you should, but the only way we're going to find solution is if we realize what it is to be a bully, in what state I am when I want to be a bully, and then when it happens to you, you can understand who they are, where they're coming from, because I think it's the only way. It's not by shaming them and bullying them in return, because it's easy to go back like that. Shame the bulliers and the bullies. No, bulliers, I don't know if it's a word, but so because we can fall into that trap. Let's shame the bullies so they're not bullies. Oh,
Right.
hey, what the hell? I don't want to be a bully anymore. Can I call someone?
Yep.
And I think there's also sometimes we have support for the victim, but there's a support. I don't want to say like the criminals, but I'm just saying for those people, it's not going well. When you have to bully someone, think here, hey, what's going on, dude?
Yeah.
What's going on? And why in 2016 people want to hurt that much and shaming that much?
Yeah, it's cruel. And well, it's funny you say that, because we do work with bullies, and we don't exclude anybody. If somebody wants help, we're more than willing to help them change and talk to them and mentor and coach.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't exclude them, because you know what? They are victims. Everybody is a victim in this, and they are. They're angry. There's something going on. They've suffered abuse. They've suffered something themselves. It was a learned behavior. Maybe something's going on in the home. Maybe something happened to them that they can't talk about. They have nobody to trust or go to, and they lash out, and that's what they do. No, you're not born to hate. Nobody's born bad. And it's funny, in one of my college child development classes that I took a while back, I read about this, that there were social theories about that you're born. Some believe that you're not born bad, and others believe that you are born bad, and we're taught by our parents right from wrong. I don't really think I believe so much in that one. I don't believe you're born bad. But there are theorists out there that believe that everybody's born, bad is pretty much what it was saying, and you're taught right and wrong in behavior, and that's how you're taught to be good. I didn't really agree with that when I was. It was interesting how people think.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on the planet.
Everybody has their own thoughts, but
Yeah.
in talking about shaming, that's been going on a lot lately. I know you're not on social media in abundance, because you're always working offline, but I know sometimes you are. I don't know if you ever witness it or see it. But recently there was a lot of talk about, shaming recently, and women, and, how we use ourselves and our bodies and this and that. And one of the things, too, that I also noticed is that they're finding models that are, plus size, or whatever you want to call it, that are not size people, they're shaming them
Well,
because they're not size zero.
I say voluptuous, like
Voluptuous,
beautiful.
exactly. They're beautiful women. And people are feeling, well, they shouldn't be models. Why are they models? And then you have other people that are like, oh, finally, real women on the cover of something. I mean, like, what are your thoughts on that shaming process? Because there seems to be like a very odd balance. You have some people that feel the fashion world should just be for the certain type of that stereotypical, fashion model, and then they have others that are like finding it breathtaking and refreshing that they're seeing different types of women.
Uh, there's a lot of thoughts that's coming to my mind right now. Uh, I I think at the end of the day, the fashion industry, you want to show your clothes in the best way. So whatever the type of model you choose, I think healthy should be the word.
Right.
And it's not about size, but it's about health. And there's also and I'm seeing that in a way that we see skinny models at eco fashion, I mean very skinny one, but some of them you can see they're unhealthy because we look at their nails and their hair and their skin. But some of them are as skinny, but they're super healthy. They're 14.
Yeah.
They eat, and you're at that phase, but they also experience the bullying of you're too skinny because now before it was you're too fat. Now you hear
Yeah.
more you're too skinny.
Yeah, you do. It's
So
skinny shaming.
but for years, of course, models were too skinny, and there still are. I mean, not too skinny. I don't like too skinny. Unhealthy.
Yeah.
Let's say the word unhealthy because I see very skinny girls are beautiful. You can see they are healthy, but they're
Yeah.
14. So much you can do. But yes, and a lot of super healthy model has been told you're too fat. You're too fat, and you're like, no. But it's been anchored for years. It's
Yeah.
been like that for years. What comes into my mind is that if different sizes come into place in the way of making collection, it involves more work at some point on the design standpoint and fitting standpoint and things like that. If you decide to mix the two sizes, right now it's like samples are all one size and they fit it to the model. Now it
Right.
involves maybe three sets of sample, which is not too much work. But people hate change. They want to stay in the comfort zone. They know it's going to be more work. So I think there's some people that scream that on a very selfish way that it's not even about the models, it's about the work that's going to involve.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, we are in 2016. Fashion will never be the same ever.
Right.
What's trendy? Everything. You cannot say that something's more trendy. Before you could see like trends. Now,
Yeah.
if you own your style, you own your style. So fashion won't be about the latest trend for a bit. I think. I think fashion will be uh, about making a change and being different and really having a story behind and being sustainable and healthy. We're gonna look that, but we won't have a choice. We won't have a
Yeah.
choice. And again, the people who are resisting right now, the people who don't want change. We're
Yeah.
lazy.
No, I like the fact that you actually call it healthy because it's true. I mean, you could be skinny and unhealthy. You could be, they always correlate unhealthy with overweight, and I think that's a misconception because you can be in the best. You might look in the best shape as can be and be unhealthy, and people don't realize that. And it's not about it's not always about how you look, body shape. It's about all different things. I mean, you could be a little bit overweight and be healthier than someone that looks like the perfect version of a woman. So, I do agree with that it should be about health. But, and correct me if I'm wrong though. In Paris, I read something recently in Paris that they actually were banning models if
That are too
that are
skinny.
too skinny.
Again, again, I think it's great, but they're gonna take the how do you say the fat ratio? How do you call this one? The
The
fat
body mass index.
the body mass index slash body fat type of stuff. You're gonna need a certain amount of fat. Again, there's maybe some super talented girls that's even at 16 or 18 you're skinny even if you're healthy. So what is it? Is it that, yeah, you're super healthy, but your body mass or your fat is not going to be enough? And now, so are we using the right like solutions to solve the problem? That's
Right.
the other thing. I think people are reacting too fast and, oh, we're going to do that. Okay, cool, it's cool. But did you take the time? The reason is for the past decades, business has been like that fast. We make it happen fast. Now we have learned to do the fast. We can do fast all the time. It's
Right.
in 2016. But, oh, I lost my idea. What was I saying?
It happens, don't worry about it.
Something else came through. Sorry about that. But yeah, no, are we using the right ways to find a solution? That's what it is. For me, that is one of the big issue. People are, with Eco Fashion Week, I feel it with different brands. They kind of want to, oh, this brand is doing this, let's do the same. But you're not the same. You can get inspired by it, but you need to find your own eco recipe. And there's as many eco recipe that there's brand, and there's as many individual eco recipe that is people on the planet with slight modification. But this is it. We're all unique. At the end of the day, we just need to accept that we are unique and accept that everybody is, and accept that sometimes you don't share the same values or priorities and things like that. And the reason we bully is because we want to be right.
Right.
I think.
No, I get what
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It's true, and I think that people jump to shaming too fast. But I also really feel sometimes people confuse opinions with shaming. They confuse opinions with bullying. Everybody's very fast to jump to things, like you said. Very fast to jump to it's bullying. Very fast to jump to it's shaming. It's not always that way. You can agree or disagree with something. You can have an opinion and it not be a bad thing. But people are so used to throwing it around or wanting to be a victim or play a victim, and I don't think any of us should be anybody's victim. And that's always something I say. Tell your story, share your story for good, get it out there, help other people. Bullies, people who don't bullies, people who have been a victim of it, but you don't stay a victim. I mean, you're a victim of things, but you don't have you could choose to stay a victim, or you could choose to rise above it and move on. But I do highly agree with what you said. It's just people are jumping to things too much. We got attacked recently, and it happens to us too. People think, oh, you do all this amazing things, you never get attacked. Yes, we do. I agreed with a tweet that had, that we got attacked for, and it was like shaming, and it was like, how? Wait a minute, this had nothing. But we don't engage in the negative. We don't mind having healthy discussions. We do mind when we're getting attacked and bullied, and the conversation's just really not going anywhere, but like just like negative. So, that's when we like just stop the conversation. If we have to ignore and block, we take those precautions because people can get out of control, and it happens. And, like I said, we embrace discussion, but we don't embrace like constant, like if you're not getting anywhere when it's constant and negative behavior, and it's like the conversation's really just kind of going in circles. And, people say like, they're fighting for a cause and this, but they're really not. They're attacking, they're bullying based on biased opinions. And those opinions are fine when they're not disrespectful and unkind or cruel or harsh. The problem is that that's what happens. They're extremely, I've seen it like over everything. Fashion, television shows, actors, writers get attacked, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, when did the world become so like obsessed with these things that we can't tell the difference between we're bullying over entertainment? Not that anybody should be bullying for any reason, but like, this, you got to
Well,
distinguish reality from fantasy.
well, people are unhappy.
Yeah.
People are unhappy deeply. We've been trained since we're born to be most of the time someone else that we are. So we are we are unhappy. That's
Yeah.
it. And I think we have to take care of ourselves
Yeah.
and try to find, you believe because you're hurt inside, something has to come out. And so that's the issue. We need to work on ourselves. But hey, TV shows now, you have in each TV show, you have someone who has depression and someone who's that, and it's hard, it's painful, and we carry our big emotional backpack, like, but we think that by doing yoga and doing this, we are erasing everything. But at the end of the day, if you don't empty your backpack, the yoga makes you just carrying it better because you're more in shape. But
Right.
at the end of the day, it's the backpack that we need to deal with. All of us, we all have shit. Okay, but we're unhappy.
Yeah.
And I remember sometimes younger, I don't know who said that, but said, oh, that person, she's annoying me. She's always too happy. And I remember, yeah, I know what you mean.
I've said that before.
Oh, she's so nice, she's so happy. And now I'm that person. Do I have my moments? Yes.
Yeah.
But right now, being angry, upset, anxious, uh, I'm going to use the word hate, but I don't like myself when I'm like that. This
Yeah.
is the worst state ever. But before, my identity was a bit built with that, meaning that, oh, we have sometimes to walk on eggshell around Myriam, kind of. And now if I hear that, I feel like, no, I don't want anybody to walk on eggshell next to me. But for some people, it's still part of being who they are. And
Yeah.
some people are proud of being that strong, because we confuse being strong and assertive sometimes with dominance.
Yeah.
We confuse.
Kind of like that badass feeling.
Yeah.
You can be badass and still, be a good badass.
Yeah, but if, again, the world is changing. The 21st century is the century of awakening. I think that people want to be happy more and more.
They
And
do.
we do. So I think it's happening. Let's just continue the way we are, but it's still a process for a lot of people to get to empty the backpack the right way.
That's a good analogy, and I like that. It's actually very it's cute and inventive, and it's interesting. That's why I love having different. That's why I love. Yeah, it's like that's why I love having chats with everybody so differently, because everybody has these very interesting, innovative, interpretations.
But like I said, it's not mine. I read it in a book. The book is called Letting Go.
Right.
It's an amazing book. I don't know the name of the author, but for 3 pages, he starts, I'm sure you or someone to be healthy, they do yoga, do herbal tea, and he starts and he lists things for 3 pages. And for the 3 pages, I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, I do that. Yeah, just trying to feel better. But at the end of the day, you can be the healthiest person with working out and eating and stuff. But if your backpack is full, you won't be happy.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, empty the backpack. But it helps to be healthy with your body and things to face the backpack. But that's where I found it, and I've been using the backpack example because it speaks to me.
Oh, it really does. It's actually very interesting, and I'm actually going to use it myself. I actually might even buy the book. No, it's great because it's true. I always say you have to be a healthy you, because if you're not, you can't help yourself and you can't help anybody else. And, it's great to empty your backpack, but I think a lot of people go into that world where they're trying to forget things, whether it be through social media, entertainment, television. And I think it's great that they're finding avenues and outlets, but I also think outside of that, they need to find the outlets to empty that backpack, and they're not completely empty, which is why these things are continuing to happen, because in that moment they're happy and then they're not. It's like almost like when you're at a party and you're having a great time and you're I'm having a drink and everything's wonderful. The next day, everything is not solved. You were happy in that moment, and then everything's back to how you felt badly before you went there, and pretended to be happy for the little bit. It's a great. It sounds like it's a great book, and it's a great thing to really pay attention to and follow. That I think more people need to do. And you're right. It's a lot about happiness. So basically, typical question I always ask everybody in closing: what is something that you would say to people out there, or give words of advice to people out there struggling with any form of bullying and hate? Besides some of the things that you've mentioned, is there anything else that you could that you'd want to say in regards to it?
Well, if you're bullied and you come back home and you cry and you're afraid and you're scared, reach out. Bullies keep out. Go promote. It's there. There's some resources, and I think life can put someone on your path to help you through this. Try to manifest it, and believe in your heart that you worth something. Reach out because you cannot continue to experience something like that. And yeah, that's what I would do. Reach out, and if you feel you have no, you probably have a number. Police keep out. What is it that you do?
Yeah, we do everything. We have Skype, we have DM, we
And
have
we have
emails.
So reach out. You Police keep out is your tool. And if you're a different country, there's always help. Internet is there. Go to the library if you're not, reach out. And because you are not alone. I think that's something that, remember, if you think you're the only bullied person in the world, you are not. And probably the people who are bullying you right now, they are bullied as well. So reach out. You're not alone. Reach out to Police Keep Out.
Yeah, we actually have a PSA we did. You are not alone. It's a great one if you take a look at it. It's about suicide awareness too. But yeah, we do public speaking. We go to events. We do everything. We're worldwide. So, and we're just growing bigger, and with great advocates like yourself and the great ambassador we have to, and just the more and more advocates we have that, people look up to that help or spread the word. It's great. So, thank you so much for taking the time out of your very hectic schedule before Eco Fashion Week. I know I caught you before you got crazy, and I look forward to more continued work. Look for more things from Myriam, and she's part of Blaze Keep Out now, and we're going to, when she's done with Eco Fashion Week. But again, thank you so much. It's great to have you on board. You're a wonderful advocate, and you brought some extremely insightful things to everybody, I think. So
Thank you.
we look forward to talking to you and working with you more. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this chat with Myriam, and be kind and love big.